Hello there folks, Nerdy John here, and oh boy, Def Noodles and Papa Gut, have you been giving us content this past week? Like, it's insane. I thought it was just going to be a quick Twitter spat, a video here, a video there, and that would be it, right? No. Def Noodles the other day did a 6-hour Twitter space coping about how people can't take his jokes, and oh my god, even the fans that were in there were trying to tell him that the jokes weren't good, although they were also at the same time his cheerleader squad, so that way in case anyone actually had trouble with him, they'd be like, you just don't get it, like, you just don't get his humor, like, come on now. And I'm like, by the way, I did a 6-hour live stream reacting to all of this. If you want to check that out, a pinned comment will have the link to the live stream, so please go check that out. But yeah, eventually it was Def Noodles and Nicholas Diorio, and Nick had him on the ropes. He had him for the kill. And then Papa Gut entered. And for those of you who don't know, Papa Gut said he wouldn't be part of the Twitter space. And then he just derails Nick's entire point. And then gets into some weird arguments, let me just say. Like, he talks in depth about his wife's trauma. And it didn't, I mean, he had some good points here and there against him, but it was more like, who's more moral at the end of the day, when it's like, my entire point with Def Noodles is, like, you keep saying you're a comedian, you keep saying you're Kaufman, you keep saying you're all these different, like, satire comedians, and no one really gets you, but, like, why do you constantly defend it? People who do that, the thing with them is they love to mess with people. Norm Macdonald, he loved that people took him seriously. Why are you trying to like try to explain your joke every time to people? Because guess what? If you have to explain your joke every single time, it's not funny. Norm Macdonald didn't go on stage, tell a joke, and then for the next 5 minutes of his special explain why the joke in question was funny. He never had to do that. And then you were bragging on stage about, I played in this comedy club that was right next to the Comedy Cellar, which is a really popular comedy store. And guess what? I talked to Internet Unwind, who was also in my stream. And yeah, he said, oh yeah, like that place, that's where all the losers go who can't get into the Comedy Store. And like, it made so much sense to me. And not the Comedy Store, the Cellar. And that made so much sense to me. Of course he would brag about that, because he hopes no one actually knows about the comedy scene. Internet Unwind does. That's why his video on him was so good. He was bragging about a podcast that he was on. That how, like, oh my god, it was the number one comedy podcast. But if you look at the podcast, one, it's not a comedy podcast, it's a podcast where they analyze comedy. The guys themselves, from what I can tell, aren't that funny, and their whole job is to analyze comedy. When they had their conversation with you, they didn't know if you were joking or not. You want it to be obvious that you're joking, but you're like, you keep saying, oh, I want to be Kaufman, I want to be Kaufman. Well, then why do you feel the need to explain everything? By the way, the Twitter space in question was just like a cope thing of like, well, how come people don't want to go to my roast battles? Because apparently he wants to do a roast battle thing that's going to be like a bi-weekly show. He's expecting a whole bunch of people to pay $15 to try and roast him. And here's what's going to happen. It's going to be Def's fans in the audience. It's going to be his lackeys from his podcast in there too. And they're not going to laugh at anyone's jokes against him. He's literally making that so that way his friends have a place where they can practice their comedy without being booed at. And that's just so pathetic. It really is. And now he's doing like a diet H3 podcast live show. He had this dude named Chris Walker on, apparently the same dude who won a debate against Hassan Piker, And apparently he's a conservative gay black man. And Deafy Boy, oh my god, he got smoked. I'm not saying he was right? I'm saying Def didn't prepare properly, and Chris took full advantage of that. And oh my god, his team was pathetic during that. They are truly the Diet H3H3, and that's not a title you want, because you don't even want to be regular H3H3 anymore. But anyway, this is Nerdy John, signing out. Have a lovely day.